I'm standing in the middle of my kitchen, and it looks like a bomb went off. I'm talking eggshells crunched into the tile grout, a fine layer of flour coating the expensive espresso machine I bought myself as a promotion gift. And the smell? God, the smell is a nauseating mix of burnt bacon grease and something sugary burning on the bottom of the oven. And there is my husband, Mark. He's standing there with a lopsided grin, holding a plate of something that looks like gray, rubbery scrambled eggs and toast that is somehow both burnt black and soggy. He looks at me, eyes shining with this performative innocence, and says, "Breakfast is served, honey. I wanted to start your day off right." My hands are shaking, not from hunger, but from a rage so pure and hot it feels like heartburn. I look at the clock. I have 20 minutes before I need to leave for the biggest presentation of my career. 20 minutes to eat this sludge, smile, say thank you, and then spend tonight scrubbing grease off the ceiling. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Mark, if you cook breakfast one more time, I'm filing for divorce." The room went completely silent. The smile dropped off his face. But before I tell you how he reacted, and how this act of service was actually the most manipulative thing anyone has ever done to me, let me take you back to where this nightmare started. It wasn't always like this. When Mark and I first got married 5 years ago, things were balanced. He worked in sales, I worked in corporate marketing. We had our routines. We did takeout, we cooked simple meals together. It was fine. But about 8 months ago, everything shifted. I got a massive promotion, regional director. It came with a significant pay bump, a new office, and a lot more responsibility. Around the same time, Mark's company downsized. He didn't lose his job, but his hours were cut and his commission dried up. Suddenly, I was the primary breadwinner by a landslide. And I tried to be sensitive about it. I never rubbed it in. I paid the mortgage without asking. I covered the vacations. But I could feel the shift in him, the insecurity radiating off him like heat. That's when the breakfasts started. It began innocently enough. One Tuesday, I woke up to the smell of coffee. Mark brought me a cup in bed. It was sweet. He said, "I know you're stressed with the new role. Let me handle the mornings." I was touched. I vividly remember telling my friends over brunch how lucky I was to have such a supportive husband. Little did I know, I was walking into a trap. By the 3rd week, the help had morphed into something else entirely. Mark wasn't just making coffee anymore. He was attempting 5-course elaborate breakfasts at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. And I don't mean he was making them well. I'd walk into the kitchen at 6:30, showered and ready to grab a yogurt, and I'd be greeted by chaos. Every single pot and pan we owned would be piled in the sink, coated in grease. There would be batter splattered on the backsplash. And the food? Inedible. One morning, he served me French toast casserole. It was raw in the middle, literally liquid egg batter, and charred on top. When I politely took a bite and said, "Honey, I think it needs a bit longer," his face crumbled. "I've been up since 5 a.m. doing this for you," he whispered, his voice thick with hurt. So what did I do? I ate it. I ate the raw, soggy bread because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I spent the rest of the morning fighting nausea during a budget meeting. This pattern continued for months, and it escalated. Sensory details are important here, because I need you to understand the visceral horror of my mornings. The sound of him banging cast iron skillets at 5:30 a.m. became my alarm clock. I'd wake up with my heart pounding, knowing my sanctuary, my kitchen, was being destroyed downstairs. I started pleading with him. "Mark, really, a protein bar is fine. I'm not a breakfast person." "You need fuel for your big brain," he'd insist, pouring too much salt onto already salty bacon. Then came the cleaning. Mark's philosophy was, I cook, you clean. That's fair in a normal dynamic. But Mark cooked like a tornado. He wouldn't wash a spoon, he'd grab a new one. He wouldn't wipe a spill, he'd step in it and track it through the house. I was coming home after 10-hour days, exhausted, mental capacity at zero, only to walk into a kitchen that smelled like stagnant grease. It would take me an hour, sometimes two, to scrub the pans, wipe the counters, and mop the floor. When I asked him to clean as he went, he'd get defensive. I'm making a huge effort to pamper you, and all you care about is a few dirty dishes? You're so controlling now that you're a director. That word, director. He spat it out like an insult. That was the first red flag I actively ignored. He wasn't doing this for me. He was doing it to me. But the breaking point, the moment that led to me standing in that kitchen threatening divorce, happened 3 days ago. I had the quarterly review with the CEO. This was the meeting that would determine my bonus and my trajectory for the next year. I had my suit laid out, I had my notes prepped. I told Mark the night before, "Please, honey, I need a quiet morning. No big breakfast, just coffee and silence. I need to focus." He nodded, he kissed my forehead. "I got you," he said. I woke up at 6 a.m. to the sound of a blender loud enough to wake the dead. My heart sank. I put on my robe and went downstairs. Mark was making smoothies, but not just smoothies. He was making pancakes, bacon, and some sort of berry compote. The kitchen was already destroyed. Blueberries were crushed into the floor runner. "Mark," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "I asked for a quiet morning." "I know," he cheered, too loud, too manic. "But you need antioxidants for the meeting. I made a success scramble." I looked at the clock. I was already running behind because the blender had woken me up later than my alarm would have. "I don't have time," I said, turning to the fridge to grab a water. "Just sit down," he snapped. It was the first time the mask slipped. "Sit down and appreciate what I'm doing for you." I froze. The aggression in his voice was new. I sat. I ate a forkful of the rubbery eggs. I checked my watch. "I need to go get dressed," I said. "Wait, try the syrup. I infused it with vanilla bean." He rushed over to the table, holding a small pitcher. I don't know if he tripped. I don't know if he stumbled. But the next thing I knew, warm, sticky, vanilla-infused maple syrup was cascading down the front of my white silk robe. It soaked through, it got on my chest, it dripped onto the chair. Silence. "Oops," he said. But he wasn't looking at the mess. He was looking at my face. And for a split second, before he composed himself, I saw it. He was smiling. A tiny, micro expression of satisfaction. He didn't want to feed me. He wanted to sabotage me. He wanted me flustered. He wanted me sticky and stressed. He wanted me to walk into that meeting with the CEO feeling less than perfect because he felt less than perfect. That was the moment the blinders fell off. I stood up. "Get out of my way." "Honey, it was an accident. I'll get a towel." "No," I screamed. "You won't get a towel. You will get out of this kitchen." I ran upstairs. I showered in 3 minutes flat. I didn't have time to dry my hair properly, so I had to slick it back into a bun, not the look I wanted. I threw on my suit, I skipped makeup, I rushed out the door without saying a word to him. I crushed the meeting. Pure adrenaline and rage carried me through. But the whole time, in the back of my mind, I was replaying that look on his face, the satisfaction of the spill. When I came home that evening, the kitchen was still dirty. The syrup was still on the floor, now a sticky and attracting hazard. Mark was on the couch watching TV. "You didn't clean," I said, dropping my bag. He didn't look up. "I cooked, you clean. That's the deal." Something inside me snapped. It was a cold snap, the kind of anger that doesn't scream, it plans. I walked over to him and took the remote from his hand. I turned off the TV. "Mark," I said, "why are you doing this?" "Doing what? Loving you?" He sneered. God, you're so ungrateful. My mother was right about career women. And there it was, the truth. Let me see your phone, I said. What? Let me see your phone, the group chat with your brothers, or maybe the text thread with your mom. He turned pale. You're crazy. You're paranoid. If I'm crazy, show me. He refused. So I went to the kitchen, grabbed the iPad that was synced to his iCloud, he always forgets that, and I opened his messages. And there, plain as day, was a text to his mother sent at 7:15 that morning. Quote, she left in a panic, hair wet, probably going to bomb the meeting. Maybe then she'll realize she needs to slow down and focus on the house more. I'm tired of feeling like the poor relation in my own marriage. My stomach dropped. It wasn't incompetence. It was malice. For the last 3 days, the house has been silent. My kitchen is spotless. I wake up, I make my own coffee, I eat a yogurt in peace, and I go to work. But the fallout has been immense. His family is blowing up my phone, calling me abusive, controlling, and a cold-hearted corporate bitch for kicking out a man who cooks breakfast for his wife every day. They're spinning the narrative on social media. Man tries to show love, wife kicks him out. I look like the villain to everyone who doesn't know the truth. I'm sitting here now, reading the comments on his sister's Facebook post about me, wondering if I should respond with the photos of the destroyed kitchen and the screenshot of that text message. Part of me feels guilty. It sounds so petty, doesn't it? Ending a marriage over breakfast? But then I remember the syrup. I remember the look in his eyes. It wasn't about the eggs. It was about the control. It was about him needing me to be small so he could feel big. So, am I the asshole for asking my husband to stop cooking? No, but I might be the asshole for not seeing the truth sooner. I'm meeting with a lawyer on Monday, not just about the divorce, but to protect my assets. Because if he's willing to sabotage my morning meeting, who knows what he'll do when he realizes the gravy train and the breakfast service is officially closed. I'd love to know what you guys think. Have you ever had a partner whose help felt more like a punishment? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the story of my misery, hit that like button. I'll update you all once the papers are served.